we are going to make a kimchi soba noodle with homemade kimchi. So if you want, I have a recipe online for homemade kimchi with pictures. And so you can see the steps, but it takes some time and there's different variations of it. Different people make it different ways, but this is my little kimchi jar that I started. What I'd like to advise you to do if you are making your own kind of fermentation or anything like that, especially kimchi, leave yourself a little room. So I didn't leave enough room and I woke up the next morning and there was just juice slipping all over. There are also a lot of times where people have exploding kimchi. Exploding kimchi happens when you put it into a glass bottle like this and you tighten the lid really, really tight. So just be careful. Once you're done fermenting it, you can keep it in your refrigerator. The refrigerator will stop it from fermenting anymore. The recipe that I have online is for a quick kimchi, so you can have it within 72 hours. If you want a full kimchi recipe, email me and I'll send you one. But I find this one does a pretty good job and it gives you all the great flavors as well as the probiotics. So we're gonna take that kimchi that we make and we're gonna make a really quick soba noodle salad. So I have a food processor in front of me. We're gonna make our dressing. So for our dressing, I'm gonna add 2 cloves of garlic, got brown sugar, some miso paste, gochujang, which is the paste that they have, not sweet, Korean chili paste, rice vinegar, not rice wine, but rice vinegar, more chili powder, so the Korean chili powder, and then sesame oil. So I'm gonna add sesame oil, about a tablespoon, a little more, a little less, depending on what you might like, okay? And then I'm also going to add in a little bit of ginger. So I'm gonna peel my ginger with my knife really quickly. You can use your spoon too, but since I'm using so little of it, I'm actually able to peel it with that. So I'm gonna put that in there as well. And then the secret ingredient, fish sauce, Korean fish sauce. It doesn't smell any different than the Vietnamese stuff. So it might be the same, I might not be right, but if I am making Korean food, I use a Korean fish sauce. If I'm making Vietnamese, Thai food, I use a different one. So we're gonna blend this up together and then we're gonna add our kimchi juices to make it even thinner. And there you go. So you've got it starting to go. Now I'm gonna open my kimchi jar. I'm gonna start adding some kimchi in there too. So if you look, the kimchi is nice. It's pushed all the way down. There's enough stuff in there that you can, it's holding it down so that it's fermenting correctly. There we go. So we want about 1 cup that's gonna go straight in here. As you can tell, I'm not measuring. I am eyeballing this because that is how we cook in this kitchen sometimes, especially for something like this. So I'm gonna add that kimchi in, and then I'm gonna push the rest of my kimchi down. So whenever you're fermenting anything like that, go in there and then kind of push down at it. Open up your jars every once in a while during the fermentation process. And it's best to keep this in a cool, dark room if you can. And never tighten the jar if you're not gonna be storing it in the refrigerator. Tightening the jar will just cause it to explode. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend that again. That's looking good now. All right, so I'm gonna also add 2 limes. Go. And when you're making your kimchi, if you are reading my recipe for it and you feel like, wow, that's a lot of salt. It's about a 1/4 cup of salt for 1 head of cabbage. You gotta use it all. It's the only way to protect the kimchi from making you sick, okay? So whenever you're following a fermentation recipe, always follow the proportions correctly, even if you feel like they might be too sweet or too salty. It's there for a reason. All right, so we're gonna blend that up again. And there we have our beautiful kimchi sauce for our soba noodle salad. So I'm gonna pull this and we're gonna get everything else ready for this dish. I've got a cucumber, so I'm gonna do some julienne vegetables. So I'm gonna take my cucumber, make thin slices out of it, stack those slices on top of each other, and then you've got a nice thin slice going. Perfect, just like that. And that's gonna be part of our salad. And then I'm gonna do the same with the carrot. It's an organic carrot, and that is why I'm not peeling it. You can choose to peel it if you want, but I'm just gonna do a little bit of a julienne with this. Just like that. Put this to the side. And then I've got some radishes too. I thought radishes would be nice and pretty in here. I'm gonna take my radish and I'm gonna do half moons out of it. Or you can stack them up and do thin slices too, up to you. Just like that. And what would be really good in this that I forgot is a hard-boiled egg. So if you want, add a hard-boiled egg, but let's assemble now. So I've got my noodles here. I'm gonna take a little bit of the sauce or the dressing, whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna toss it in here. I'm not gonna serve it in this bowl actually. I'm gonna use this bowl as a gauge. So I'm just gonna toss it around in here to get it nice and coated with the kimchi mixture dressing stuff. So it gets nice and coated. Soba is really forgiving. If you feel like it's sticking together, just run it under some cold water and you're ready to go. Soba noodles are pricey if you're buying 100% soba noodles. Most of the time, the soba noodles that we're buying have a little bit of wheat in them, so they are not gluten-free. But if you do have the gluten-free kind, they do get pricey after a while. So that looks good, nice and mixed. I'm gonna grab a big bowl so it looks pretty. I'm gonna put it right in the middle. Just like that. I'm gonna arrange my slices of veggies all over the top, just like that. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more kimchi just to put on top, just like that. And there you have your kimchi noodles, soba noodles. See you later.